Hey, it's David Pingree. We're out here at LACR today with a 2017 Kawasaki KX450F, and we were approached by Pro Circuit. They asked if we'd be interested in testing a bike that they had completely built themselves, actually built by the race team, using Pro Circuit parts that they sell. And of course, why am I going to turn that down? So we picked this thing up this week and really excited to get out and get on it. It's got a full complement of engine products, everything that Pro Circuit sells in here. Obviously the exhaust, a bunch of stuff we can go through. Bones also went through the suspension on this, and they do a little bit of different work on the internals, a revalve obviously, fork and shock. And I'm not a fan of the air fork. The SFF is what they have on this bike here. But it was interesting to me the way Bones had me set this up. You know, he wanted me to start by completely letting the air out of the bottom chamber, then overfilling the top two, then setting the bottom chamber, then coming up and setting the inner and outer. And he wanted me to do it in that sequence, and the reason he said is a lot of times you can get the right numbers, but because it's designed with a push-pull system in this fork, the fork can actually be drawn in a little bit and you lose some of your travel. So he said every once in a while, every few months or something, it's a good idea to go through that sequence, get the numbers that you like and plug them in that order. So I thought that was interesting. We went through that process this morning. So going through some of the parts and pieces and work that they did on this bike, obviously the fork and shock, revalve and setup, they've got different internals that they run, both on the inside the fork and then the bladder cap and things on the shock. We got the Pro Circuit triple clamp, this one in the aluminum color, the full tie 6 titanium system with carbon end cap. You've got a Pro Circuit race piston with a coated wrist pin, that's all one unit, comes together. Titanium exhaust valves, titanium intake valves. You've got a Pro Circuit's own proprietary camshaft that they developed. Valve springs, 4-stroke CNC machine head modifications. It's got Pro Circuit axle blocks. It's got their radiator hose kit, which is actually nice. It gets rid of some of the couplings and it's all one piece. So just less chance of something failing or leaking. They've got their launch control. It's got the arc clutch and front brake assembly, which is pretty cool. They've also got some other pieces that they've developed over time through their race team. That's the water pump cover with impeller. Circulates the coolant a little quicker. This is obviously their 2016 team graphic that's been carried over to the 17 model. Oil filter cover, the Pro Circuit billet shift lever, which is foldable and really cool, and also the carbon fiber chain guide on this. Years back they were having some issues with these Kawasaki's derailing chains, and this was their fix for it. It's actually a block that they devised and had created to correct that problem. Totaling about $6,000 if you look at just the parts themselves, a little over $6,000. So you got to really want some high performance to put all this stuff on, but if you've got the money to spend and you're looking for high performance, this is it. So it's a pretty extensive list of things Pro Circuit's done to this bike. Obviously the graphics are by N-Style too. That's been a longtime partner of the Pro Circuit team. We're going to throw some VP 4.4 in this thing and get it on the track, and we'll let you know how it works. I had pretty high expectations of how this engine should work, knowing that Pro Circuit, you know, builds the race exhaust for the factory Kawasaki team. These guys are just really sharp when it comes to engine development. And I wasn't disappointed. This thing, basically, it seems like it follows the stock bike's power curve, just everything's bigger up the front side. So no need to use the clutch on this thing at all, just roll it on, and they found a real nice delivery of the power, the way it comes on. It's not too abrupt or aggressive. They found just that right balance where it doesn't break the rear wheel loose too much, and but it's giving you everything you need. So Really fun engine on this thing. Plenty of over rev if you need to leave it between in a gear, like between turns, and all the torque in the world if you want to try to lug through something in third, like if it's a kind of a sweepy turn, no problem. I don't even need to touch the clutch. This thing has so much torque. That's the other thing I guess that's really neat about it is how much torque there is. So really fun engine on this thing. Whole shot machine. So kudos to the Pro Circuit guys for building a rad engine. The suspension worked well. I still hate these forks. I would like to take them off here and throw them into a lake and sink them to the very bottom. No disrespect to Bones or those boys, they do a good job. There's a feel with these, that initial, when I land off of something, there's a big step up here, and every time I'd land, the front end would it's just like a hard slap. And I tried going softer, it doesn't really fix that feel, that little initial stiff feel right when it starts to compress. So that's an air fork feel. It's on every single one I've ever used. I just don't care for it. But the actual balance of the bike was really good. I started at 105, is what he recommended here, 103 to 105, and really on the money for me. The shock was awesome. You know, a lot of little chatter out here, kind of high-speed chop. No big braking bumps or kickers, but just the high-speed chop. And this shock is solid. Just stayed really straight and tracked really well coming out of turns. Really good with the traction. So love the shock. Fork is just okay for me. I would prefer a spring fork, but it works well and it's balanced well to this for what it is. Really strong brakes. This arc lever is great, combined with the brake system they've got on here. Really strong brake. Everything else about it's comfortable. I love the Renthal stuff. No other complaints or issues at all. So thank you, Pro Circuit, for letting us jump on your hot rod. It's amazing. If you guys want to look at some of these parts, all these parts, they're all available at procircuit.com. You can check those out, and they'll have a parts list there for you as well. And thanks for watching. Thanks again to Pro Circuit and Kawasaki.